The notion that all reporters are liberal warriors is silly. Attacking a reporter makes little sense. Take an incident that allegedly happened at the border.
Informed, not inflamed media.
And hi everyone, John Daly here with more Informed, Not Inflamed. So the incident at the border was reported in Newsweek on October 5th, 2019. The reporter apparently wasn't allowed to cross back into the country until he told the border agent that his work as a reporter was, quote, propaganda. Now, he agreed to acknowledge that so he could get back in and get to work. You would think that that border agent would be fired. But unfortunately, the majority of people think most reporters are liberal warriors fighting for socialism. Now, as I've noted in my book, and others have noted too, there is an unconscious liberal bias in most of the news media. But there's a reason for that. They are trying to reach as broad a market as possible to inform as many people as possible because that's their mandate. As a result, you will get more liberal viewpoints in story content and story selection. Still, my experience with colleagues throughout the years says just the opposite in their political makeup. Most of the people in the news business don't get paid a lot of money. They rejoice in their ability to be professional news gatherers. There's nothing better than seeing your byline or the video segment you produced that is a comprehensive report on what is really happening. I am absolutely amazed also at some past colleagues who are no longer in the news business who have very strong right-wing beliefs. What's so cool is I never detected it during their years in the news business. So let me debunk a couple of theories here. The news business is not loaded with socialists. It is not. And the second notion is that these reporters go off on their own for their own political ideology. They do not. Now, is there bias in the news media? Yes, of course. Get over it. We all think it is a left-wing bias. It is not. There are two other biases that are far more prevalent. The first is the sponsor bias. Now, here are two stories from sources that I hope to use in an upcoming book, but let me reveal the two incidents here for you. They both took place during the 2016 presidential election. The first was a reporter covering a Hillary Clinton campaign. In the report, the reporter mentioned that there were many empty seats and the rally wasn't well attended. Before it aired, one of the TV station's producers said, "You need to take that out of the story and remove that portion of the video." Clearly, the producer was told by someone in advertising sales to change the story to keep the Clinton campaign happy and paying for more campaign ads. Now, the second incident happened with a news anchor who had a one-on-one interview lined up with then-candidate Donald Trump. As the news anchor was leaving for the interview, the station's general manager handed him a list of questions. When the anchor said, "No, I'm already set, I got this," the manager said, allegedly, "No, these are the questions you will ask. And if you don't ask them, don't come back to the station." In other words, you're going to lose your job if you don't ask these questions. Questions that were apparently sent from the Trump campaign to the TV station's management. This is the sponsor bias full-blown. Is this wrong or unethical? Well, yes and no. We live in or I should say, allegedly, we live in a free market society. These media outlets' goal is to make money. Yes, they do have a responsibility to provide honest and factual news. But you as a news consumer also needs to understand what is going on. This is your responsibility too. Information from any news outlet should be considered as if they are a car dealership. Is this car what I want? Affordable? And will it be reliable? You need to ask the same of news organizations. The car dealership sells you a lemon. Do you attack the salesperson? Well, you can, but that salesperson did not make that car. So most of your arguments should be against either station management and ownership or newspaper management and ownership, not the reporters in the field or the news anchors presenting the news. This sponsor bias style of reporting has become far more prevalent since the financial crisis. The financial crisis crushed many news outlets. You saw massive cutbacks in personnel. Reporters who were able to keep their jobs had to take on many new and different responsibilities besides reporting. They had to shoot their own pieces. They had to edit their own pieces. They had to write stories, newspaper-like stories that would go on a station's website. Then, stations had to compete with Facebook and Google ads that were far cheaper and were better at targeting audiences than the expensive 30-second spots on a newscast. As a result, TV news stations and newspapers' primary goal was not news or investigations, but creating revenue. Now, when I was a news anchor and a managing editor of newscasts back in the 1990s, if an advertiser was upset about a story and threatened to pull their ads, the station did not bat an eyelash. There were plenty of other advertisers at the time. And again, that was the 1990s. And as a main anchor and the main writer for the shows that I anchored, I was never told by anybody how to write or slant any story. Now, in my more recent years in the news business, which is why I do not work in the news business anymore, I have seen and experienced executives dictating which stories to cover and which ones not to cover. Too many times I was asked to front pieces for other newscasts about such important news stories like the Lindsay Lohan trial. This is the other bias. It is called the sports and entertainment bias. That's where news stations take each story and boil them down to the protagonist versus the antagonist, or one team against another team. You were told who wins and who loses. It's easy. It gets the emotions of the audience going. It keeps the audience in front of the TV set or reading the newspaper. But it does little to impart real knowledge and research that can help people maneuver in their daily lives. People are dealing with larger healthcare costs. People have to work 2 jobs because of income inequality. People have to take care of children while at the same time caring for older aging parents. Most of the news media barely touches any of this. Why? Well, because it's difficult, because it's boring, but it would affect and change many lives. This is the real media bias. That's why I tell you the most important journalist in your life is you. You have the tools. All you have to do is go to either my Facebook or Twitter news sites. They are either at Informed, Not Inflamed, or John Daly News. Go to informednotinflamed.com, watch some of my instructional videos. I've posted them right there. Read some of my postings about how to create your own Twitter news feed. Give me your thoughts and ideas. I'm looking to create new platforms to reach more people. There's too much at stake. Talk to you next time.
For more on John Daly, go to informednotinflamed.com.